The Nigerian government is meeting with senior officials from the African Union Commission and agriculture experts from across the continent to develop a new national agriculture investment plan. Well, Kehinde Makinde, the country lead for Nigeria at the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, joins us for more insight on this from Abuja. Well, thank you so much, Kehinde, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, of course, Kehinde, while, of course, experts meet to draft a new plan for achieving economic diversity through agriculture, what I would like to know is, does the Nigerian government at this moment have its own, does it have its own strategy, or plan for agriculture? And if it does, why the need for a new plan?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Nigeria has a plan for agriculture development. There's a new strategy that was launched by the federal government last year, which was tagged Green Alternative, or what you could also call agricultural promotion policy. Now, this is not about drafting a new plan. This is actually about domesticating the plan and ensuring that it aligns with the CADEP framework. You will remember that in 2014, there was a Malabo Declaration, which decided to build on what we had before on the CADEP agenda. So what is happening now is that the African Union Commission is working with the Nigerian government to ensure that the plan that we have now is well aligned to the continental agenda, and so that we are sure on the metrics that will be used, and that these metrics that have been developed can be compared across several nations. So Nigeria is an important part of this arrangement. And this present meeting is to ensure that we have a plan that is well aligned on the continental framework. Right. So that's basically what this meeting is supposed to do.
Okay.
And that's the
all right, Kehinde,
stakeholders.
All right, then. But Kehinde, my question now is, why this all-important need to align with the continental agenda? I mean, Nigeria's local agriculture space has got its own challenges that it needs to deal with. It's got realities it needs to come to terms with, of course, from actual production to storage and value addition. Why do you think that it is important that we actually align with the continent at the moment? Is that a priority?
Thank you. This is not something that's just beginning now. The African leaders signed on to a commitment to ensure that there is a continental transformation in the agricultural space because of the need to ensure increased food security and to alleviate poverty in our rural areas, which is the place where most of the farmers are doing. So that was a commitment by the African government to ensure that we have a common framework for the development of agriculture in Africa.
Now, Kehinde, do you think that Nigeria's agriculture sector is attractive enough, for this to capture or to absorb this large educated workforce in Nigeria?
Oh, yes. The Nigerian agriculture space has a lot of potentials, and you have several companies. Just recently, for instance, you had Dangote Foods, investing a lot of money, and there are several other private sector investors that are hanging in this space. So what the government is doing to say how they can crowd in private sector investment, a lot of that is happening now. You heard of Dangote, you heard of UMZA, several rice mills that are working in the rice space, for instance, to ensure that Nigeria is able to reduce dependence, on importation of rice. So that opportunity for a private sector to come in is what the government is working in through enabling environments to ensure that private sector can come into the space. They can take advantage of the incentives that government has put in place, and that can, help smallholder farmers to tap into the potentials for agricultural development.
Kehinde, I'm very interested in, of course, supporting the smallholder farmers. A large part of Nigeria's agriculture space is still being dominated by subsistence farmers. To begin with, what sort of assistance are these farmers getting? Most of the produce that comes into the market still come from these farmers who do not have any form of storage facility. Transportation of some of these produce to the towns is also a problem. Of course, they get bad before they hit the markets as well. What's been done, to help that particular space? You just mentioned some big names, but then the major players are still the small farmers.
Yeah, you are very right. Now, what is being done now is to work around factors that can help smallholder farmers be able to improve on their productivity. One of these that AGRA is working on is to provide access, to seeds and fertilizer by smallholder farmers. They need these two inputs to be able to improve on the productivity, of their farms, and to sort of reduce the gap that you have between what is the potential, for several of our staples and what the farmers are currently getting. Now, in addition to that, we're working to ensure that farmers also have access to business development services that they need. Like if they have marketable surpluses, how do they translate this to increased income, to money? And that is what linkages to markets, output does. So part of what we are doing, working with other people in this space, is to ensure that farmers are able to translate, increased surpluses that they get, from use of new technologies into, income, and they can use that for improving their livelihoods. In addition to that, we're working with those private sector actors, to the processors, that are in the space, the agribusiness groups, to also better be able to make more money, from their investment in agriculture. Yes. So farmers need access also to good organization.
Okay, then, well, thank you so much.
Because they are smallholder farmers, there is need for bulking.
I hear you, Kehinde. We're actually going to have to end it on that particular note. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Well, thank you so much, Kehinde. I've been talking to Kehinde Makinde, the country lead for Nigeria at the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa.